if the Dallas Cowboys put up these numbers, they'll have what type of season? And are you taking the over-unders? I got these sent to me from Bet Online. All the projected quarterback numbers. By the way, as you said you missed the Jeremy Fowler lists that were coming out from scouts, coaches, and executives. Dak, not in the top 10, not in the honorable mention, came in at number 79 on the NFL top 100. Any reaction to that? And then CeeDee Lamb coming in yesterday. Was it number 3, Chop, at wide receiver or number 4? I think it was 4 behind Jamar, Justin, Tyreek.
He's better than Tyreek.
And then
now.
Lamb.
Yeah, the CeeDee's better than Tyreek now. 79 makes sense on the NFL top 100 because he was way up there last year. So the drop makes sense. They're so finicky about Dak on that top 10 quarterbacks list every year. Like, it feels like some years it's like, oh, he's up at 6, and then it's like, oh, he's completely off the list. And they will go based completely on how did he play last year. There's nobody it feels like that applies to more than probably Dak. Maybe Stafford a little bit on some of those lists, but Dak pretty consistently is going to be how did you play. But to have him outside honorable mentions even that's ridiculous.
All right, in the year he finished second in MVP, I'm just giving you this for context and to compare. He threw for 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 picks. All right, 4,500, 36, and 9. His over-unders in Vegas this year, 38.50 with yards, 26 touchdowns, 11.5 interceptions.
Yeah, I'm not touching the yards.
Because of injury?
You don't know who the running back is. Why wouldn't you just slam the over? Unless you thought he was going to get hurt. Yeah, like Sean said.
Well, because I think the offensive line, if the offensive line's better, they're going to run the ball. I think the under that plays is the the number that plays is the under on interceptions. It's very difficult for me.
In his career, he's thrown, I don't even want to count. Did he throw 8 last year in 8 games? Because he had 9 the year before total. 9. That was in response to the whole Dak's a turnover machine. He threw 15 the year before that. I'll just give you his interception totals. Forget the games. 4, 13, 8, 11, 4, 10, 15, 9, 8.
Yeah, his per season average is 9.
Yeah, I would take the under on that because I think he's going to miss enough time.
Yeah, that helps,
and that's why I'm scared to take the over in the other one.
Yeah,
I think the second best bet is the over on touchdowns.
Yeah,
because I don't think they don't have anybody to take it away from him.
In his career, he's thrown for 30, 37, 23, and 36.
Yeah, I mean, all of those feel like they would be health dependent, but man, if you're telling me he plays enough to throw potentially 12 interceptions, I would think the overs would be the better bets on the touchdown and the yards. Because we don't know who their running back is going to be. I understand Schottenheimer wants to run the ball, but you also got to remember this offense, in all likelihood, is going to be using a lot of the things that they were successful with after the bye in 2023, when Dak and Brian Schottenheimer worked together really closely on the offense. And during that stretch, when you got out of the San Francisco game was when everything went to hell and they had their come to Jesus meeting. There was 12 games after that. Dak was 31 touchdowns to 5 picks. Like, that was because that was the thing, is that those raw numbers sound really good in 23. They're even better when you consider what he did for the 12-week run at the end of the season. But look, I understand there's a lot of questions about Dak being able to remain healthy. I think if he's healthy, though, you can pretty much bank on he's going to be, at worst, a top half of the NFL quarterback.
Well, speaking of the running game, Jon Gruden sat down and commented on what he's feeling about the Cowboys right now in the offseason.
Well, Prescott, you got to keep him healthy.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yes.
I just think this is the Dallas Cowboys. Where's Emmitt Smith? He's retired. We got to run the ball here.
Yes.
They don't even run the ball. I
Yeah.
don't know who their running back is. They used to pound your face in with the very intimidating offensive line. Now it's kind of like a 7-on-7 pass-happy offensive attack, and I don't think their defense, other than Parsons, has an identity. And Lawrence is gone. I don't know. Overshawn's a great linebacker, but he's hurt. I just don't know what their defensive mentality is, and I miss the old Dallas Cowboys.
I love. Where's Emmitt Smith?
Yeah, where's Emmitt Smith?
And then he answers, like, before he can't even put a period on that sentence before he goes, he's retired. Like, yes, he is retired.
Yes, he is.
It's like, whatever happened to the greatest, the all-time leading rusher? Where's that guy?
Yeah,
Why don't they have that guy anymore?
it's the Cardinals. You're talking about the St. Louis Cardinals. This is an organization based on pitching. Where's Bob Gibson?
Right, yeah.
What are we doing here?
That's the thing. So, I mean, look, I get
Peyton Toubre with the credit for sitting down with Gruden, by the way.
I understand in general, obviously, what he means, though, which is this is a team that historically has had great running games for the most part. Even if you're not talking about historically great running backs like Dorsett and Emmett, like DeMarco was very effective. Marion Barber and Julius Jones together were effective.
Darren McFadden was effective.
Yeah, Zeke was effective for like 2 years. And so, like, I understand the general thought process that he's talking about. It is a de-emphasization of it, but this is also what happens when you say our quarterback is going to get paid $60 million a year. Like, that becomes kind of the priority of what you want to do.
Yeah, and ESPN did a training camp storylines to watch the biggest battles, and you got to find a way to get the Cowboys in there. So for some of the ones that had, who's the Colts quarterback going to be? Chiefs left tackle, Pats wide receiver, and they come to the Cowboys running back, and they said it's unclear. This is a worryingly weak room. That's a quote. The ideal outcome is that Williams returns to his pre-injury form, though it's worth remarking that even his career best season was only 4.4 a carry and 46% success rate. But Blue, speedy change of pace. The camp battle is one to watch less for touch distribution and more for the overall quality. And look, it's pretty obvious. Like third wide receiver, corner, running back. Those are some of the camp battles. But I'm not mad that they're focused on a running back. But I also think it's like the running backs aren't the ones that can answer this for us. It's the offensive line. They're the ones that are going to answer. They're focused on the position, and that's fine. And the running back position is important, but who's blocking for them, you could argue, is importanter.
Yes.
Which isn't a word.
It is more important.
And, like, if they have holes, any NFL caliber running back with decent awareness and patience and that can find them. Like, this is the same team, like you mentioned, that, Darren McFadden with Castle and Kellen Moore averaged 4.6 a carry.
Right. Yeah. And look, I mean, that's why, instead of focusing on, like, who's your running back or what your, like, it should be obviously posited more in the idea of what is your running game. And their running game, they expect to be better. Even though they let Rico Dowdle walk out, and he played pretty well the last 6-7 games of the year, they expect that, all right, we drafted a guy we like in Jaden Blue. We think that one of these veterans is going to catch on. We invested in the offensive line, and we invested big time in Clayton Adams. And Clayton Adams structuring this run game to look a certain way and to take advantage of those things.
All right, so that's the quarterback numbers, running game, and then wide receiver-wise, Vegas sent me the over-unders for CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, baby.
For context and comparison, CeeDee Lamb last year had 101 I'm going to give you 3 years because last year I had Cooper Rush. Last year was 100 catches, 1195, and 6. Year before, 135, 1750, and 12. Year before that, 107, 1360, and 9. Over-under for him right now is 109.5 catches. 109.5. He's put up 107, 101, and 135.
Yeah, and those 200 years you're talking about, you mentioned the one last year that was obviously with Cooper Rush most of the time. The other year where he was under that 135, he had Cooper Rush for 5 games there. And so, yeah, I mean, again, all of these stats feel so much like a Dak health stat, and CeeDee's no different there. So, yeah, if I can say Dak's going to miss max 2-3 games, then, yeah, I'm definitely taking the over on that, even with Pickens being here.
The yardage over-under is 1250. He's put up 1195, 1750, and 1360. Over?
Over.
And
that's over.
Then the touchdowns is 7.5. He's had 6, 9, and 12.
That seems like a fair over. The one I struggle with is the receptions because, what is his target number going to be? With Pickens, what is his target number going to be? I just went and looked, first thing that came to my head is what other team has, 2 really good wide receivers. I just immediately went to Tampa for some reason. I don't know why. And it's not fair necessarily because it's not the same, but, I mean, Mike Evans only had 110 targets last year. Like, is CeeDee going to get 181 targets like he got in 23? If he gets 181 targets, that means George Pickens stinks.
Jamar Chase has gotten 128, 134, 145, and 175.
Woo! That's high for having a guy like Higgins.
Yeah. I got Pickens over-unders.
Oh, those I'm very interested in.
That is high. I saw this. I saw the Pickens one. This number, his catch number, isn't it like 93?
No. I don't know what you were looking at.
It was FanDuel.
66.5.
No, FanDuel had like 110 targets and 93 receptions. It was crazy.
Well,
high.
catches, bet online, 66.5 over-under.
Under.
His numbers have been 59, 63, and 52.
If he has under 66 catches,
He's never had 66. He's never had Dak Prescott.
he's never had Dak Prescott. If he has under 66, you can miss me with all that. This is a guy who could be a number one receiver.
Well, I mean, that would just depend on like what you're doing. Like if CD is getting his 125 catches, then 60 is reasonable, especially when you consider they want to use the running backs in the passing game too.
The over-under on the yards is 900. He's put up 800, 900, and 1140.
He is a 16.3 yards per catch guy throughout his career, which, what is that, 16 over 60 receptions? That's, 960. So, sure, that's a fair number probably.
And you going over or under?
Over.
And then 5.5 touchdowns. He's had 3, 4, and 5 in his career.
3, 4, and 5.
Man, that's so little for a guy that
so
keep
little.
hyping up as like the contested catch red zone
Especially
guy.
because Ferguson's not going to get any because he doesn't get any last year.
What was the number on touchdowns again?
5.5, right?
Under.
And then I'll give you Ferg's numbers. Bet online in Vegas. 64.5 for the catches. So just 2 catches less than Pickens. 575.5 and 3.5 after having the goose egg last year in the end zone.
Boy, that feels like one of those things they're going to make a priority to get him the ball in the red zone. Just
To make up?
Yeah, just as a make good. It's one of those, so I could see the over on touchdowns.
All right, so there it is. Your different Cowboy plays. You got one final thing?
I just how are they calculating if they're saying CD's going to get 109, Pickens is going to be 60, Ferguson's going to be 65? How are they then saying like 3,800 passing yards for Dak? That sounds like they're throwing the hell out of the ball if they get that many.